Morning, guys. Welcome in. How is everybody doing? Welcome in. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. KD, welcome. X Mookie size down today. I would size down like I would treat today like a normal Friday, right? Today's Thursday, but obviously treat like a Friday because this is going to be 0 day. Not necessarily sizing down, but I would absolutely be careful, right? I mean, as you would on any normal Friday. I don't think this is any different. Um, don't be a schmuck today. Yep, KOP, that's exactly right. Juan, welcome in. Hassan, welcome in. Tim, welcome in. Hope everybody's doing well. Trump spoken negatively against Powell redetermination. Yes, I saw that. I saw his tweet. I saw his message about Powell this morning. Basically, he was talking about the fact that Powell is not lowering rates as quickly as the ECB. For people who don't know, the ECB is a European central bank. So he was criticizing Powell that we are not moving as quickly as the ECB is. Okay. Anyway, the market is holding our insane level. Right? Remember yesterday we talked about the must hold level. This was it yesterday. I'm actually long right now, SPY. So I'm really happy that we're opening up into this little gap up in the market. And I'm curious kind of like how contracts open today, how longs open today, because this was, you guys remember, right? A lot of times, like I'll be honest with you, right? I'll tell you this honestly. My honest answer is I like doing this 10 times better than I do live trading. The reason why is because this is really, in my opinion, this is really what will help you guys in the long run. Nothing like I know I'm not supposed to say that. We're really not supposed to say that, right? But this is really what matters. The levels are what matters, right? You guys can trade this all you want. I mean, the 520 was. This is like somebody was texting me about this too, or like it was like Brett, if you were to long anywhere, where would it be? Like markets flushing, right? And in the chat, in the Discord chat at like 3:30, we were talking about this as well. We were talking about the 520. We talked about the fact that we were going to go to 520. We talked about taking the 520 bounce in the Discord chat. And this was the best long spot yesterday. And there was no really good. There were two long spots yesterday. I actually went long twice yesterday's session. I went long. I went long here above 531. I went long into these candle consolidations and kind of moved from like here to there. I did kind of a little bit of this upside impulse move, but not the whole move. And then the best long was here, 520. We spoke about this in detail yesterday, right? We spent way too much time talking about 520, and we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about what's going on in the market, right? Why is the market gapping up? The market is making stuff up right now, right? There's news all over. The news looks manufactured. None of it looks real, right? It just looks like they're doing everything they can to stop the market from flushing, and it's working, right? It's working right now, and from a technical standpoint, the market is holding big demand, right? The market's holding the higher low, okay, and that's the title of today's live stream. Tim, thank you, Tim. That's very nice of you, very kind of you, Tim. Much appreciated. So 520 is holding, and the major level is 520, and we're going to go over that today's session. We're going to talk about the QQQ chart. We'll go over the Q's 440 level. We'll go over the ES level. You guys already know. Watch ES. This is going to be beautiful. I haven't even looked at ES since yesterday. Watch what happens when we pull ES chart. Watch how nice the demand came in yesterday. Look at that, right? I mean, just that you can't really get much more perfect than that, right? The bottom of our demand zone tapped yesterday, 525, 5250, 5254, right? This was the level unadjusted from yesterday's session, okay? Ripped higher off that level, and today we are obviously above that level. The question now becomes, how do we trade? Mike, thank you, man. Is that actual Mike? That's Mike. That's actual Mike. Guys, if you don't follow Mike already, give Mike a follow, give him a subscribe. He's also doing stuff on YouTube on Wednesday session. So on Wednesday, Mike does something. Give him a subscribe and join his YouTube lives. Thank you, Mike. All right, let's move on. So we'll talk with the ES chart. We're going to go over that today. We'll go over NVIDIA. We will talk about the NVIDIA chart, what we can do in NVIDIA today. We'll talk about 106 on NVIDIA is very critical. We'll go over Amazon. I actually took a loss on yesterday. It was a very solid loss, right? Like for me, this was a beautiful technical chart. It ended up working end of day. I did not get in this again. I wish I did though, right? You guys saw the flush back under. This is where I went short. I went short here. went short right there, right? That was my short, and I got stopped out on this candle right there. And then the re-entry short was back over here. This would have been a much better short. Didn't catch it, but still is what it is, right? You're always going to take those. You're always going to have a few losers in the week, and this was one of the losers for me this week. Okay, we're going to go over the Tesla chart. We'll talk about Tesla. We'll go over Tesla 240, what we can do with Tesla today's session. We're also going to go over Apple, TSM, really big earnings. This is impacting the rest of semis, and we have a really nice level here at 160. So there's a lot to go over today, guys. But what I want to do is I want to dive into our earnings, our economic stuff, and then we'll go back into our charts. So on the economic side of things today, guys, we have one report that really matters. It already has come out, right? It's the jobless claims. It came out 8:30. Besides that, nothing else really matters today, except for the fact that Trump is speaking today at 1 p.m. I believe 1 p.m. I believe it's 1 p.m. Can someone confirm? Is it 1 p.m.? I think Trump is speaking at 1 p.m. It may be a little bit sooner than 1 p.m. though. Double check with me. Type in the chat if you guys know. I think it is 1 p.m. though. Anyway, besides that, today is going to be, it's basically a Friday. I know today's Thursday, but the market's closed tomorrow. So come into today's session with that mindset, understanding that today is the last day of the trading week. So if you're trading trading Friday expiration, it doesn't expire Friday, it expires Thursday, today's session. Okay. So just keep that in mind going into our 3-day weekend. Okay. Going into next week, I want to dive into this very briefly. Next week's session, we have Wednesday we have PMI, Thursday we have jobless claims, and then Friday we have consumer sentiment. So pretty routine data going into next week. This is not so important. What's important next week is actually going to be our earnings reports, right? So we have a whole bunch of earnings reports coming in next week. I think we have NVIDIA reporting earnings, we have Amazon, we have a lot of big names, big tech beginning their earnings season starting next week. Really starting this week, but it's going to progress into next week, okay? So we have 900 people here this morning, some slackers, some people who were late to the show, but we'll get started, doesn't matter. So on the SPY chart, we're going to talk about what's going on here in SPY. So SPY chart, this is what's going on. So basically what we've done, right, is we formed a low here off the 480. We formed another low here on 45. We formed a low here at 510, which was, again, the start of an uptrend, in my opinion. This is what really began the uptrend. And we've sort of been structuring higher ever since. And we formed a low here at 520. And that's why the low here that was formed at 520 yesterday's session was so important. Because, again, if we didn't form that low at 520 yesterday, then we would have probably seen capitulation, right? If we lost this 520, we would have seen a move to 510 and possibly even 480, right? Obviously 496, probably 496 first and then 480, but we would see a move like this, in my opinion. And that's what we would see if we do lose that 520 level. Now, that does not change today, right? If we get volatility today's session and we lose 520, right? I think the larger term picture here is we go back down to 480. And I'm not saying this is going to happen in one day, but I am saying it's going to happen over a series of days, right? If we lose the 520, we should, in theory, see the upward structure break, and then we flip back to a downward structure, and we go back down to 480. So that's what I would expect going into our session today. But we, at this very moment, are holding the 520, right? We are maintaining the 520 lows. And that is an important hint coming into today's session, right? This is an important hint. If we are holding 520, we are technically bullish, okay? We are technically bullish, and we could look mostly for upside plays. That's the first thing to understand, okay? Now, it doesn't mean we can't scalp shorts. We can scalp shorts. Even yesterday's session, in the uptrending market, okay, there was a short, right? If you were to say, where's a short yesterday, the best possible short, in my opinion, was either the rejection here, which was 5400 ES. This is 5400 ES chart, okay? Or, and this was nice, but I actually think the best trade yesterday to the short side was right here. This was the best trade short. Why? Because this was a break and retest short under 530, which got you that move back into 520. So there were two shorts yesterday. You can short in an upward hourly structure. You can, but you've got to be surgical, okay? You can also take longs in an upward structure, right? Where we took longs yesterday, I took longs here. I took longs above 531 and change, right? Went long in this candle right there at 1030 and got a little upside move. Now, today's session is about the 520, where we are holding the 520 level, but it also it also is about 530. Because again, even though we are bouncing off of a massive structure here on the 520 demand, we are also still under the 530 rejection spot from yesterday. So this is an important understanding. Okay, we see some support coming in off demand, but hey, are we all out of the woods yet? The answer is no. We're not out of the woods yet, because look at what's going on in the market. We are still back under this supply from yesterday's session. That's an important understanding, because again, what could happen here, right? We could see a little bit of a bull relief, off of our hourly demand, and then fade right back down to lows, right? So we must be careful of our levels today, as always, right? Be careful of the 530 supply, be careful of the 520 demand. Don't be long back into supply here. Don't be short back into demand here, right? If you're short back into 520 yesterday, you got smacked in the head with a textbook, right? We don't want that to happen. You also, if you're long today, the first thing you should be thinking about, if you're long today, I am long right now. I have longs in the market. I have longs on SPY. If I'm long on the market, I'm selling right now as soon as I can at market open, because we're still under 530. Now, if we break above 530, then yes, we have upside back into 5400 ES, right? That's it. That's basically today's session, is understanding, hey, 530 supply, 520 demand, and we're sitting in a sort of little channel between that. You may even argue, you could even make this argument to me. You can make an argument that we are actually in a even larger channel. And the channel is this, right? This is the real channel, right? You have a 5400 ES supply, the big supply here at the top of the channel, and you have a 520 demand, right? You can say you can argue this is almost a 15-point channel or range. And the reason why I say that is because you may not see it so obviously here on the ES chart, but if you go to the SPY chart, but if you go to the ES chart, you're going to see it, right? Look at the channel here on the ES. It's very obvious, right? Look at the channel here. This is the shit zone, okay? This truthfully is the shit zone, right? And the reason why it's a shit zone is because this is the area where we probably are going to stay within today, right? Going into this 3-day weekend, I don't know kind of what volatility we're going to see, but if we break above 54, that in my opinion instills more upside in the market for a move back into 55.30. If we break below 520, that's your capitulation move, and we likely move down lower over a series of a few days. So pretty simple chart this morning here on ES and SPY. The only difference that I would say between ES and SPY is on the ES chart, I would say 5400 is the most important level here, and 5250 is the most important level, right? The two most important levels are here and here, right? And if you want to look for upside, you're looking for that today, okay? And you want to look for downside, you're looking for this today. But on the SPY chart, there is one added level, okay? And going back here for a second, the added level is SPY 530. So ES chart doesn't really have the 530 level, in my opinion. The only level that we have in ES would technically be this right here, right? It would be this level right there at 535. So 535 as your level here in SPY, and this again would be what? We already know this. It's the ES 5400, okay? So I know I'm kind of repeating myself right now. I know it's like a broken record, but I want you guys to understand the levels, all right? So 5400 ES, 530 SPY, which is not really a level on ES, but it is a level in SPY, because you can see it was a level right before that. It was a level we were holding all day yesterday, and level we capitulated, broke down under, and we saw that sharp selling move. So again, 530 is a level in SPY. I would say not really a big level in ES though. So just keep that in mind coming into today's session, okay? On the Qs, on the QQQ. On the QQQ, we are holding demand here as well, okay? That's simple as that. We're holding demand here as well in the Qs. 15-minute time frame, you saw basically yesterday the formation of that higher low, right? This is why the market's bouncing. It's not a surprise the market's bouncing, but the question is, how far does it bounce, right? Does the bounce get faded? Does the buyer end of day volatility yesterday, does the buyer volatility hold today after we were holding demand this morning? Do we see a little bit of continuation? Where do we continue to? Probably back into the 466 level. That's what I would say we would probably go back into for upside. And again, if you want to real upside, a break and hold above 466 gets us that real upside for a move back into 485. So I am explaining this as best as I can this morning. SPY right now is bouncing off major demand. We are sitting at short-term resistance. Do we break the short-term resistance here at 530? If we do, upside. If we can't break below 530, then right back into the lows here at 520. If we break 520, big downside. That's it. That's all you have to know about today's session, okay? So let's move on. Let's talk about the other levels. Let's talk about the first ticker of the day. Let's talk about Amazon. So Amazon. On the Amazon chart yesterday, under our level worked out really well. this was good. It worked out. The first test of this level here in Amazon actually did not work out. I was in the first test. I was here. I went short here. I'll show you where I went short for people who know. People who know this already, I'm sure, because we were already just talking about this like 5 minutes ago, or 10 minutes ago. But the short play I went short under was under 176. I went short there. It looked like a nice bearish flip. I ended up reclaiming and then went higher back above my level, back into the 180 level, failed the 180 and broke down under that 176 level a second time. And you guys know this about the way charts work, right? Sometimes the best entries are those reclaim entries, right? Once we lost the 176 on that second attempt, that was the best possible short. Okay, that was the best possible short of the day. And naturally, the short also occurred during what? During the same moment SPY lost 530, right? So this was your ultimate short play yesterday under 176 for the downside move. Now, King35, how do you not have more subscribers? Thank you, King. Vincent Desiano is also a really good YouTuber, and a lot of what I do pre-market is based on what he does. So based on like how he structures his YouTube live. So if you guys don't know, Vincent's also a really good player in the space. Take a look at him. Under 176 was the level yesterday, and today's session, what I would watch out for now is I would watch to see how we respond to 176. If we break back below 176, there's a short opportunity for a move back into 170, right? You can look for shorts back under 176. This is a pretty clear chart. But if we maintain the 176 today, I think we probably just chop around. I think we just chop around between 180 and 176. I would not touch it here. This to me is the zone of no trading. Okay, no trading between 180 and 176. The only short I have here is if you break again below 176, and I can look for that trend play down back into 170. Very nice chart here. But again, yesterday's session was choppy. This was not an easy chart to capture. And really, honestly, the only way you really would have made money on shorts yesterday was if you held shorts all day, right? Or if you got in the re-entry. And that was difficult, right? Because not many of us are trading at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? Who's trading then, right? These things are very difficult. That's why the market this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, has not been all that easy. It's been crazy market action, and then all of a sudden intense moves at times you wouldn't expect it. So again, Amazon, nice move yesterday, but this took a longer than expected. Okay. So again, watching under 176. Apple chart. On the Apple chart, the 200 fade yesterday was what we spoke about. We spoke about longs on Tuesday, longs on Monday, and then on Wednesday session pre-market, we spoke about the 200 fade. Today's session, I think that the level again to watch is still 200. If we can set up a short here off 200, if we see this happen today, I think this is important. Like if you see us very obviously come into 200 and begin rejecting off here, I think that's where the best possible short is. I mean, obviously that's where it was yesterday too. You saw it pretty early on. And where does this go to? It probably goes back into 190, right? The 190 level is where this goes back to if we hold back under 200. If we break 200, then what I'm saying here is wrong, okay? If we break 200, then we rip higher back into 210. So if you're trading Apple today, your understanding should be simply this. Bullish above 200, bearish below 200. If you see us retest short off 200 today, take the short. If you see us break and hold above 200, that's your long opportunity. You've seen it again and again on this chart, flipping back and forth, and it's given opportunities, right? Look at what it's done the past few days. It gave opportunities for longs on Monday session. It gave opportunities for longs on Tuesday session. And what did it do on Wednesday session? We failed the 200 level. We failed it into intraday session off the open. We retested it short of 1130 and got the big downside move. So again, this was a pretty obvious chart to trade if you were watching that level. Now today's session, it's the same thing. Watch to see how we respond to 200. Above it bullish, below it bearish. Okay. So Tesla. On the Tesla chart, I think this chart is also interesting as well. The reason why I say it's interesting is because we are coming again off of a very big level. You can see that we had this little symmetrical triangle. To be honest with you guys, I'm going to delete it. I think it's kind of comical to delete this on my chart. It's a little funny now. It just looks funny. I'm going to remove it. So the only thing I'd watch here on Tesla's chart, to be honest with you, is this, right? Is this overall downward structure that we're in. I can promise you we're probably also rejecting off some SMAs. Where's the daily 21 here? Where's the daily? The daily 21 is right there. That's really my line in the sand here, right? If we're under that daily 21 on Tesla, which is around 256, and then obviously you have 260 right above. I just don't really want to go long on this stock until we get above 260. That's my bias, right? If we can't get above 260, there really is no long play here, right? So the only opportunity I would watch out for is I see it like obviously we're holding demand here and we probably do go higher today. But the only long I would look for is a break and hold above 260. That's what I would watch out for. Again, I've been saying that for a few days in a row, and it hasn't broken above 260. If you guys notice that, right, not once has Tesla broken above 260. We spoke about 260 breaking, it goes to 270. We probably said that 3 days in a row. And all 3 days, it has not happened, right? And the question is, will it happen? I don't know. I won't trade it if it doesn't. I will not trade it if it does not happen. Right. That's a very important thing. If it just trends lower back into 230, there is probably some support that comes in here of 230. Right. You probably see some knee jerk reactions off 230. But is this a trade you want to be trading? Is this a level you want to be longing off of? To me, not really, right? You're just going to get a little bit, you get a $5-6 move off of it. Maybe that, right? But again, as long as we're under 260, I think the trend here is lower and we just keep fading out, right? So for me to be really interested in long side, I would want to see us back above 260. That's a really important understanding about Tesla because again, if you're longing off demand in a downtrend, you're just going to see little bear flags, right? A little bit of a push higher or bear flag lower. That's what I think is happening here in Tesla. Not interested in going long on this until it breaks above 260. Okay. So besides that, what else do we have? Let's go over our chips now. I want to go over chips. I want to go over NVIDIA, AMD, TSM. The first ticker I want to go over is actually TSM. And I know usually we go over NVIDIA first, but TSM is important. The reason why TSM is important is because we had earnings reported this morning, pretty strong earnings. The level on TSM this morning is 160. I also have this beautiful daily 21 sitting right above us at 163, which is a little spooky, but the level for me is 160. Okay. If I want to look for longs today on TSM, which I would look for longs today, into Thursday session today, or even into next week if I see this happen, watch to see if we can turn this 160, 160, 160, a series of lows, a series of lows, a series of highs. Watch to see if we can turn 160 into support, right? What I would look for is I would look for a very traditional break and retest right above 160 for longs back into 170. That's what I'd watch out for. If we can break 160, this is your best possible long for a move back into 171, 171, 171, 171, 171. Very clear levels this morning here on TSM. Probably one of my top watches on the chip sector. Okay, if we can break above 160, this should go higher back into 170, right? So moving on now, I want to go over our next ticker, obviously NVIDIA. So on the NVDA chart, I think it's pretty clear, right? The level to watch out for is 106, right? 106 level, we held 100, but this to me is like, I know we held 100 yesterday. And I see that we held 100 level, and this of course happened right when we were testing 520 in SPY. So naturally, a lot of names were tapping demand at the moment. NVIDIA was tapping demand here at 100. What I would look out for today's session is to see how we react to 106 today. If we can get above 106 today, 106, 106, 106, 106, 106, I can look for an upside trade back into 110. Right, so that's my main watch today's session is a break and hold above 106. If we can break and hold above 106, I would look for this to this crazy aggressive downside move. I would expect an equal and opposite reaction back to the upside, right? Back to 109.50, back to even 112. So watching that today to see how we respond to 106. If we can break and hold above 106, that to me is a long opportunity today's session. Okay, on the AMD chart, on AMD. Let's give it a second for it to load. Trading view is being a little slow. People are saying HTZ. Yeah, I'll take. You guys saw HTZ, right? HTZ went crazy. Mike and I were talking about HTZ. I think $1,000. I think if you put $1,000 in options on HTZ, it turned into 200K. I think that was the actual number. I could be wrong about the numbers there, but I think that's what it was. On the AMD chart, I have no interest in going long on this chart, right? This chart to me is still relatively weak. You can compare it to NVIDIA. NVIDIA has a little bit more juice on it, okay? NVIDIA and the overall chip sector is stronger than AMD for whatever reason, right? AMD, if you look at the bounce that came in yesterday, from our low to where we're at right now, almost a 4.7% equity move. Compared to AMD, right? Look at what's going on here, right? I mean, obviously this actually was a decent bounce as well, but I guess I'm kind of disproving my point here, but to me, this chart, this structure does not look as clean to me, right? This still looks more shorter than Nvidia, right? And for that reason, I am not a fan here. The only thing I would look out for today is maybe even still watching the 90 failures, right? Because this is what we spoke about yesterday. We spoke about the 90 failures, right? The 89.5 to 90 failure, and that's what worked out so nicely yesterday. I think today's session is nothing different. You're still looking to see if this can fade 90. If it fades 90, look for this to go back into 80. That's what I'd watch out for here on the AMB chart. Okay, so let's move on. Let's go over INTC. Intel. I mean, this is the channel, right? We're in the channel, right? We're just in the thick of the channel. I would say what you're gonna do is probably long demand, right? Long demand here at this 19.0, short the highs here 21.5. That's it. That's all I would do. Long the demand, short the supply. That's simply it. I would not do anything different. Okay, at least until the channel breaks, simply just respect the channel. Okay. Let's move on, guys. I want to go over some other tickers. Type your tickers in the chat. I'm going to go through as many as I can, but I'm going to go over Meta first, obviously a beta name. Meta's holding 500, right? We did speak about the idea of Meta going back to 500, and it's happened. We also spoke about the 528 short. If you guys remember, we spoke about the 528 short on Tuesday. Broke down on Tuesday. Wednesday session, we spoke about Wednesday session, the 518 rejection trade. Obviously, this did not go anywhere near 518, right? So this morning, my short interest on Meta has completely dissolved, right? That's a funny way of saying that I don't want to short this anymore, right? The reason why I don't want to short this is because where are we, right? We're back at the same area. We saw a massive upside play, right? So if you look over here, this consolidation before the crazy Wednesday 90-day tariff pause, right, is where we're at right now here in the pre-market session. I have no interest in going short on Meta right now. Back into 500 at least, right? The only thing I'd watch for on Meta now would be, hey, does it break back below 500? If it breaks back below 500, there's a short opportunity in a downside play, okay? That's the only short I'm watching. For me, even now, if it pops higher back into 528, I'm not interested as much. It's still supply, but we are bouncing again off major support, so I'm not really looking for that either. The only thing I'd watch out for now is, hey, is there a long opportunity here at 500, or is there a short opportunity below 500? That's it. That's all I'd watch below that 500 level. Taven Reed, thank you so much, man. That's much appreciated. You do not have to do that, but that is very, very kind of you. Thank you for supporting the stream. That's very nice of you. Thanks again. Okay. Next chart, PLTR. On the PLTR chart, we reject off 99 yesterday's session. 99 was that big level. Today's session, it's the same thing. 99 supply, 90 demand. Okay, if you're going to go short anywhere, you're looking for retest shorts here 90, or you're looking for demand to come in here off of 89.90. That's it. That's all you're doing. You're just respecting the levels. Okay. Obviously, if you break below 90, this goes lower back in 80. If you break above that 99 level, we go back to 107. So the levels are pretty simple. It's here and there. We have a small intraday pivot here at 93. You can see these highs over here. But that's not what's important to me. What's important to me is going to be that 99 level and that 90 level. You guys are very nice, very, very kind of you for donations, but you do not have to donate. I'm serious when I say that. You don't have to donate. I would, obviously if I'm providing value, I appreciate it, but I feel bad when you guys do that. But thank you. Hopefully you made money from some of the stuff we're saying. Hopefully it's coming out of profits. Okay, so let's move on, guys. Let's go over a few other tickers. I want to go over Netflix. Yes, and hold on a second. How many likes do we have? We have 420 likes, 1,200 people. That means we have a little less than 40% of people liking the stream this morning. We need more likes than that. Let's get up to 600 likes if we can. 600 likes would be awesome. Okay, so Netflix, 1,000. That's the only thing I'd watch here on Netflix. 1,000. The same idea as yesterday. If you want to look for longs on demand, you're probably watching this today. You're probably watching to see if we can hold 940. So watch the 940 demand, right? Watch the 940 level here. You can see 940, okay? 940 as your technical demand. And you can also look to see if we break above 1,000, right? Above 1,000 or the 940 bounce. Those are the two things I'd watch out for here on the Netflix chart, right? If you're watching for 1,000, you're looking for this, right? You're looking to see if we can break and hold above 1,000. That, I think, sends us higher back into 1,030. You can see these highs here. And these highs here. Is that the all-time high here? Is this the all-time high? 1,060. That may be the all-time high here. 1,060. Yeah, 1,060 is the all-time highs here on the Netflix chart. So it's actually quite interesting to see how resilient Netflix has been to this overall market downside, right? I mean, if you look at how much the stock is down from highs, the stock is barely down, right? This is down 7% and change, maybe 8% on a bad day. And you compare this to other tickers. Like, let's just compare this to even one of the strongest things in the market, Apple, right? Apple, your gold standard of stocks, is down obviously a lot more than that percent wise. So it's interesting to see obviously 24% downside. It's interesting to see how Netflix is holding up, and I think maybe it's due to their model, right? Their subscription model is just it is strong, right? And they just have crazy viewership, crazy subs, and these economic downturns don't impact them as much as say an Apple or an Amazon. So interesting to see. Obviously, this is holding pretty well. I would watch to see 1,000. If it can clear 1,000, look for upside back into 10,000, 1,030 and 1,064. Those are the two levels I'd watch out for here on the Netflix chart. Okay, so let's move on. Let's go over Bull. Bull. Webull. Webull. Everything I say here is wrong, right? I mean, everything I say here, there's no levels for me to base this off of, right? So for me to go over this chart from a technical standpoint, I just wouldn't have anything to say, right? I mean, you can say from like a smaller perspective, 35 and change is your level, right? That's your recent support. If you're a fib trader, you're probably watching this. Yeah, you're watching that same level. You're watching 35. Excuse me. You're watching 35. If 35 holds, that's your long spot right here. We're staring at it. We're staring at this. We're staring at the best possible long spot on this chart, in my opinion. 35. If it holds 35, it should go back into 50. If it loses 35, it goes back into 12, right? That's it, right? This is a 61.8. This is that intraday level. This is the level it must hold. Is there a play here? I don't know, right? Don't get mad at me if this doesn't work. Again, I'm not a Webull trader, but this is that's it. Like if I were a technical trader here, which I would be, right? This is where I would be buying. Okay, so let's move on. Giovanni, how much have you made from trading? I'm not gonna answer these questions, but if you do want, I do go over my P&L some days on my Instagram. Follow my Instagram if you guys are not following my Instagram. Okay, Sophie, on the SoFi chart. Oh yeah, Webull does not have options. That's true. Webull does not have options. SoFi to me still looks like a short, right? I mean, this is still a short. Okay, we're rejecting off the daily 200 SMA. This still looks like a short to me. If it loses 10.5, it goes back to 10.0. Loses 10.0, it goes back into 9.0. Right. The reason why this is again just a bear flag, back into the daily 200 SMA. Okay, guys, I think that's where we're gonna cut everything off today. Thank you all for joining in. It's awesome to see everybody here. We had over 1,200 people in the stream this morning, which is really good. Let's come into today's session with the understanding of our levels. As always, 530 supply, 520 demand. That's all we have to know about today, and we'll see how things are. Right, we'll see if we can break the range. See if there's a trend today. If there's no trend, I mean, also expect the market the past few days has been particularly difficult, right? Today's session, probably no different. We're also going into a 3-day weekend. So today's session, cash flow and leave. You don't want to be going into our 3-day weekend, down a full count, right? Don't blow your account today's session, right? Just trade small, right? Don't have to size down, but just get your cash flow and run. That's my opinion. Guys, I will see you all for live trading if you trade with us. If you want to trade with us, the link is in the description. I'll see you guys all there. Bye, guys.